All right, we're back.
Lady, New Orleans.
Well, we won't have to panic when we're eating crawfish on Friday at the Troubadour Hotel, Jeff. All is well. Drew Brees, you never know. He might just stop by. I'm not saying that's actually going to happen.
Oh, yeah, put that out there. That'll draw interest.
That'll draw interest. No, that is not an endorsement that Drew Brees will be there. But no, we'll be taking the show on the road after hours. It's basically Dunc Holder happy hour time. We'll be at the Troubadour Hotel at the rooftop bar, the Monkey Board, 1111 Gravier Street. We will be there starting at 5 o'clock on Friday. And we'll be having some crawfish at 5
Dunc
p.m.
Holder after dark.
But it's not. It's daylight savings
Just
time.
Holder after dark.
It's just me.
It's
Holder. Yeah, it's really just Holder and then that disembodied voice guy that no one really acknowledges when they call.
And it's
I just step in.
That's both of us, though.
It's not
true.
after dark. It's the twilight because it's still going to be sunny because daylight savings time screwed everyone up. But no, going to have crawfish on Friday. $25 includes 3 pounds of crawfish, 2 local draft beers. You can also reserve a cabana for a cool $500. So if you got a bunch of peeps, it's not that expensive. But come on out. We're going to have a great time. Claude and myself and Dave will be there from 5 to 7. Jeff will be somewhere in London. I don't understand how that happened. I still don't remember.
flying to London on Thursday.
You'll be saying it's business time somewhere.
Well, yes. So you'll be gone from the show Thursday and Friday. When do you return?
I'm back. I'll be back on the show Wednesday, I think. Maybe Tuesday.
Okay.
I can't remember.
I'll just assume Wednesday you'll be back.
I think I'm back Tuesday.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll assume Wednesday just to be.
That way you'll be pleasantly surprised when I'm sitting here on Tuesday.
Yeah.
You say pleasant.
That's exactly what I said.
Clyde has woken up. Clyde has got some energy.
Cocky Clyde suddenly is back.
The coffee is finally kicking in, I guess.
There we go. So obviously we've been talking a lot about Saints free agency, and let's dive into more. Of course, Drew Brees, big time topic, and oh wow, okay, I'm gonna just mention this. Cam Jordan already putting out another feeler for Jimmy Graham, literally just now on Twitter, saying, "Drew done. Now get back to what I've been doing. Next on the agenda, huh? At the Jimmy Graham." So Cam Jordan currently trying to recruit Jimmy Graham right this second via Twitter.
And I think there's been some other people recruiting him as well, right? Didn't Mike Thomas put out a sentry trying to get him on board?
Mark Ingram has done that more than once already.
Zach Streif did.
Yes.
It makes perfect sense for everybody involved. But there must be a little bit of competition for him because Green Bay, I think it makes a lot of sense if you're Jimmy Graham too. Go there for Aaron Rodgers. So they can use that to their advantage to create a market to get a better deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're Jimmy, you do want to weigh your options given this is probably going to be your last maximized contract in the NFL. So you certainly don't want to be everybody's some hometown discount. Well, New Orleans isn't his home right now. He needs to get back to New Orleans, but he's going to want to maximize his deal still. You know the agent he has too, and he's like the Tom Condons of the world. You don't hire those guys to just be like, oh well, take less. No, you don't hire those guys for that. And Jimmy Graham is certainly, there's a market, and there's a reason why contenders are after him because they know he could be a piece to push them up to the next level.
I think it's going to be interesting. We haven't heard really much circulating from Saints offices or Saints camp about a wide receiver. Do we know if this team has tendered Brandon Coleman or not? Do we know that?
We don't know that quite yet.
So we know they did tender Willie Snead. They have obviously Mike Thomas. They obviously have Ted Ginn Jr. Is there a need for one more receiver there? I think they need one more receiver to go with that group. But you plug in Jimmy Graham. You've got Alvin Kamara, obviously, who's a great receiving threat, as is Mark Ingram. This offense is trying to take the next step. We all know we've documented their third down issues. You get Jimmy Graham on there, he suddenly becomes a big target on third down. He's a great red zone target at 6'6". So to me, this offense has a chance. Even though they finished second in the league last year in total offense, they weren't quite as explosive as they've been in years past. They were a better running team, obviously, better ball control, but there's still some areas where they need to improve.
And people have reached out because, like I said, I wrote last week that I think they should go get Jimmy Graham, and the reunion makes perfect sense to me. But they keep bringing up, oh well, he doesn't block, and
please,
give me a break. You're not hiring him to block. You have Josh Hill and the Who Man, Michael Ho'omanawanui. You have those guys there to block, and they played significant snaps in doing so. Now, will you have to shift some of those? Because we certainly saw a lack of snaps from Coby Fleener, but if Jimmy can get... Here's the thing. If they run the ball and if Jimmy Graham's in there, I think he's capable of throwing 1 or 2 blocks a game. Maybe. I think he's capable. He's not going to be Larry Warford running people over, but I think he's capable of at least getting in the way of someone and allowing Alvin Kamara to scoot past, and you can get a big game.
That's like saying, oh, you got a chance to go on a date or you got a chance to marry Kate Upton, but she doesn't cook. I mean, who cares? Right? Who cares? That's not why you're involved here.
Well,
That's not why you're involved here.
Also, if you're worried about saving money, I mean, Justin Verlander makes $11 billion, so you're not worried about that either. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just putting this
That's
up.
fair, because it's like saying, oh, Justin Verlander doesn't cut the grass.
When people say stuff like that, I just think you're just a football nerd. Go back to your football focus study.
A football nerd.
I mean, give me a break. Jimmy Graham is a big-time threat in the seam, and that's something that they have not had in recent years for whatever reason. Coby Fleener, and I actually think Coby Fleener's almost been a little bit underrated. I think he's been a little better than people make him out to be, but he's just been disappointing because of the contract they gave him. That was a very impulsive move, and he's had injury problems, which makes him, even more disappointing because he could be on the field the whole time. And then they really lost a threat. They had to go to Josh Hill. I think Josh Hill is a quality NFL player, but he's not a starter, I don't think.
No, he's a number 2 tight end who you want him in there to block because he's certainly capable and could maybe give you the random reception. So that's what you're looking for there. But people are saying, oh, don't spend the money on Jimmy Graham, draft a tight end, Jeff. I think you explained that situation perfectly about rookie tight ends. They don't come in like gangbusters right away.
No, it's very difficult for the most part. That's why that position, most of the stars in the league are kind of veteran guys that have been around. Even guys that we've seen early in their career were perceived as disappointments. Zach Ertz was like that early on. It takes those guys a while to kind of find their niche in the NFL because it's such a difficult position, and so it's used in a lot of different alignments, and the versatility that's required to play the position at a high level is rare. So I think you get a guy like Jimmy Graham, I think it's going to be a slam dunk. I bet it gets done in the next 24, 48 hours. Just knowing how the Saints operate, they're going to go after him hard.
And just think about first-round picks that are tight ends. It's a rarity that they completely pan out. The last one I can think of that has really been Pro Bowl guy was Greg Olsen, and he was at the very end of the first round. I think that was the year the Saints drafted Robert Meacham, so 2007. I think that's how long, because of course he started with Chicago and then went to Carolina. I don't think Jason Witten was the first-round pick. I know Gronk wasn't. We know Jimmy Graham wasn't. So if you're going to gamble on a tight end in the first round, I think it is a gamble.
Think about it this way, too, guys. Can you think of a team, I don't know, maybe our listeners, somebody could call in and if you know the answer to this, but Jimmy Graham has been a Pro Bowl tight end. We know that.
5 times.
5 times. Mike Thomas is now a Pro Bowl receiver. The Saints have 2 Pro Bowl running backs, and they have a Pro Bowl quarterback. Has anybody ever had, one team, had all that at those skill set perimeter positions on offense? I don't know if we've ever seen that. You might have to go back to the Charger days with Kellen Winslow and Chuck Muncie and Dan Fouts and Wes Chandler.
I'm thinking maybe the juggernaut offense that was Minnesota when they had, say, Robert Smith and Dante Culpepper and Chris Carter and Randy Moss. I don't know who the tight end was. I know it's not Steve Jordan because that's kind of the person that popped up in my head. Of course, Cam Jordan's dad, but Steve Jordan was a Pro Bowler. So I don't know the answer to that.
And I'm not saying that for sure Jimmy Graham will make the Pro Bowl next year, but he's a Pro Bowl caliber player. Suddenly, this offense, I don't know what teams are going to do. And they may not even care about their defense because they might just outscore people if they get Jimmy Graham in his prime. And I think he's still got more wear on the tire. I know people say he's not the same player since he had the knee injury. He looks pretty good to me when I see him. And they're not going to ask him to go deep every down. I mean, that's just not the NFL. That's unrealistic.
No, and if you look at if they're able to add that piece and develop the offense anywhere near, say, look, obviously they've gotten a ton of yards and this, that, and the other, but if both the passing game and the running game are able to go, say, like in 2011, their defense is good enough to get them over the hump. Because if they're that good, they're going to outscore everyone. I don't know if that's going to be the case, and you never know with injuries, but I think that 2011 defense wasn't one of their best defenses. I mean, they had kind of the same cast of players, and you saw a lot of changes after that, and you're curious if they could be so good on offense and if they're good enough on defense, but we know they're going to address defense too. I mean, there's no question. They got to address
They've got to. I mean, in the division with guys like, Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, an emerging Jameis Winston, who I'm still not sold on. But nevertheless, you've got all these big stud receivers in the division. Mike Evans just re-signed. Cameron Brate re-signed. I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you, in Carolina. I don't know what
they're hemorrhaging.
What's the plan there? I don't understand it. Someone educate me on Carolina.
Aloysius from New Orleans.
Think they're going to be better by letting all these guys go? I don't know.
Their plan is to hemorrhage, I guess, because Andrew Norwell is now going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar star. Latulele, he's going to be leaving that defensive front, and he's going to be with the Bills. Oh, by the way, former LSUer and longtime defensive lineman Kyle Williams set to sign a one-year deal back with Buffalo, so he's not going anywhere. He's going to stick with this. So you're going to have Latulele and Williams up there. But yeah, Kurt Coleman's gone. Charles Johnson's gone. We don't know if they're going to bring back Julius Peppers. Jonathan Stewart's gone. It seems like they keep losing pieces, and I don't know how they're going to add pieces.
No one's going in.
Yeah.
It's all everybody leaving. We know that they have a kind of uncertain GM situation. Ownership is up in the air. To me, that organization looks completely in disarray.
Lost.
Disarray, yes.
Yeah. All right, let's take one more phone caller, and then we'll take our last break of the show. Let's head to New Orleans and talk with Aloysius. What's up, Aloysius? Thanks for calling Dunc Holder.
Hey, man, I think it might have been 1978. Actually, it was the year, I believe, before we went 1-15. In the Pro Bowl, we had Archie at quarterback, Muncie and Galbraith in the backfield, Henry Charles at tight end, and Wes Chandler at wide receiver.
Wow.
And Hank Stram, I think that was that one great year. We went 7-9 or something.
Yeah, had that great offense. You're right. I think
might have been 14 games we played back then.
I think that team was either first or second in the league in total offense, right?
I don't know that. I just know we had 5. We owned the Pro Bowl that year. And knew for sure we were going to Super Bowl, and we went 1-15 the next year or something like that.
That's when the drugs problem came to the Saints, I believe, in the next year. That's when
Don Reese and all the Miami Hurricanes. Excuse me.
Yes, and I think it was the
That's good.
the famous cover story, I think, in Sports Illustrated that documented the drug issue.
Yeah, right. Correcto.
Yep.
And that was a fun locker room, yeah.
There you go. All right, Aloysius, appreciate the phone call on the inside. Yeah, there we go. You ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, you receive all right.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, to me, gosh, I don't know. I'm not willing to doubt Aloysius, but that seems like a lot of Pro Bowlers for back then. But maybe so. I know that Henry Childs definitely made it because I remember writing that he was the only other tight end to make the Pro Bowl for the Saints. I think Hobie Brenner made it one year as like a kind of a random blocking tight end.
That sounds right.
One time, and then Jimmy Graham. That was it. So.
No, Jeremy Shockey didn't make it while he was here, just in case you're wondering.
No, he did not.
No, he did not. But anyway, all right, one more segment coming up. And then, of course, Eric Asher follows us from noon to 2. I'm pretty sure he might talk Drew Brees, just a guess. Chris Gordy, 2 to 4. I think he'll talk Drew Brees, too. So, yeah. Big news, obviously. And who knows, Jimmy Graham, they may get a deal done in the next 20 minutes. Who knows? But if it happens, we'll bring it to you right here, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc Holder.